Hey there guys and gals, Anime Dude here, and today we're going to be talking about a series I've wanted to talk about for a long while now. I mean, the number of shows I feel that are worth watching is ever growing, but there's a number of classics from my childhood I've been especially excited to share with you, and this series fits into that category. That show is Kaichou Maid Sama, and while I admittedly don't watch a ton of Shoujo series anymore, this one contains what I used to consider one of my top 5 romances in anime for the longest time. Easy. Not to mention it's still a strong contender to this very day. Not only that, but it was a genuinely funny rom-com, and by the end, nearly all the main characters were pretty likable. I specify by the end because our main heroine is kind of a hardcore feminist man-hater at first. Likewise, don't be a bit shell-shocked if she doesn't make the best first impressions. I mean, not only is she the student council president, who has the power to act on her bias within a school that has 80% male students, but the opening scene of the show is literally just her chewing out and nagging a bunch of dudes for minor breaches in the school's dress code. No doubt she's strict, both with herself and others, but she also just really doesn't like guys. Regardless, while I could see that rubbing some people the wrong way, it doesn't really bother me because her reasoning for being this way is understandable. Her dad left her and her family when she was younger, and he left them with a lot of debt. That experience left her with resentment and trust issues towards men in general, which in turn sets up an important path for future growth. Next, our main male character is Usui Takami, a student she initially despises due to his constant heartbreaking ways. But while that kinda sounds like an intro to a bad boy or player, Usui was always a standout to me amongst male characters, especially when I was younger. Within most of the trashy harem/rom-com shows I watched back then, most guys were indecisive about what they wanted, and it was extremely frustrating to watch. However, when we're talking about the Chad that is Usui, he may have a devious side that likes to tease a bit, but above all, he's a guy that's simply honest with himself and others. Along with that honesty, he's a picky guy with high standards, so much so that he usually isn't interested in girls at all, and the heartbreaks he causes are simply turned down confessions. The guys that watch this show probably want to be more like him, and the girls that watch it probably want to be with him. That's right, I said the girls that watch it. While I do think it's a show that everyone should check out, this is a Shoujo series, which tends to usually have more of a female audience in mind, because female weebs do exist. I know, crazy concept, am I right? And you may oppose that statement with a meme, but I oppose your opposition with proof. Mwahaha! Yeah, I can't do an evil laugh like Nux. I need to work on my evil laugh. Anyways, the point is, since this is the first shoujo series I'm covering in this Why You Should Watch series, I figured I'd go out and find a few female weeps to chime in and comment on the series. So here we go.
Look, I'm just saying, I'm a female weeb, and I would give up my soul if the devil gave me a chance to be with Usui.
Female weebs do exist because I'm a female weeb who's actually more into Misaki.
Hello, my name is Gabriella. Personally, I think that this anime is really good. It's one of the shoujos that I like the most, and I will definitely watch it again.
Hey, Codex here from the Simply Phenodex podcast, a podcast that actually stars 3 female weebs. And you know what? I've always been a big fan of Maid Sama. It's a great series, and I highly suggest that you go check it out.
Congrats, female weebs! I denied that petty beta meme and instead acknowledged you and your existence. Honestly, I think I might be the first and only person on anime YouTube to do that so far. This is pretty groundbreaking stuff here. So, remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We welcome weebs of all genders. Thank you. Welcome aboard. Very cool. Anyways, while every girl that watched this show was probably wooing over Usui for one reason or another, my 15-year-old self was kinda wanting to be more like him in a lot of ways, but especially with regards to that honest and straightforward nature. Looking at how he's introduced outside of that, he's competent and handsome, so of course he's pretty popular, but don't worry, because while he is great at most things, he's not necessarily some perfect character that can do no wrong. Due to his past, which I won't go into detail on, he's a bit clumsy when it comes to picking up on certain social cues and whatnot, he doesn't have a ton of friends, etc. Any less competent or handsome guy probably wouldn't have been able to get away with being such a stalker, but that's beside the point, cause he really is a genuinely nice guy that always acts with Misaki's best interests in mind. Anyways, both of these characters I just mentioned are extremely talented individuals who've studied in academics, martial arts, and athletics for basically their entire lives. To say that they're standouts is a bit of an understatement. But in addition to having so much responsibility on her plate already, I mentioned that Misaki's family is pretty poor, so what she does is work making decent money at a maid cafe to help them get by. I may have focused a little bit too much on her hateful side earlier because she really is a stand-up gal. The fact that such a strong-willed girl has a job where she has to wear a smile and greet her male customers as master is not only ironic, so as to add a bit to the humor, but more importantly, the stark contrast shown here manages to catch Usui's interest after he happens to see that dirty little secret. She explains her circumstances to him, and from there, their interpretations of the situation at hand are completely out of touch with one another. She worries about getting outed at school and becomes paranoid as a result, yet Usui simply gains an interest in her and then actively tries to learn more about her. He develops feelings for her, and only her, and I don't know, his unwavering dedication to that romantic pursuit is endearing, primarily because of how genuine, wholesome, and straightforward it is. Most of what I've stated thus far happens within less than half of the first episode, but it sets up a love story that has stuck with me for basically a decade now. I mean, maybe part of that is nostalgia, because it is just a pretty standard rom-com with a gradual progression, and just by putting the pieces of what I've told you together, it doesn't take a master detective to figure out what direction it goes in. You know, it took a strong, hard-working, caring tsundere like Misaki to gain Usui's interest.
And wearing a maid outfit doesn't change the fact that you're strong, or smart, or incredibly hardworking. I think you should be proud.
And it'll take a genuine, competent, and straightforward guy with loads of persistence to break through Misaki's shell, get her to open up, and mend her damaged heart.
I feel like I'm in a race, running as fast and hard as I can, but no matter how far I go, you're always right there in front of me, running with no trouble at all. Sometimes you even run backwards and call out to me like you're taunting me. I hate losing, so that really pisses me off. But this time, the fact that you were running ahead really saved me.
The two were made for one another, and this series is their story. Their relationship is honestly still one of my favorites in anime. From what I remember, there's not necessarily a ton that this series does in order to subvert expectations, so I'm not going to bother being too roundabout or elaborate in this video, but it's just a genuinely good romantic comedy with gradual progression in their relationship throughout. The Maid Sama anime has a score above an 8 on my anime list, while currently sitting within the top 100 most popular series, and while that's cool and all, it unfortunately never got a season 2 due to its lack of popularity within Japan. You'll have to read the manga if you want to see how the story ends, but from what I've heard, it's pretty top tier when it comes to giving closure. Despite me not having read it myself, it's one of the 30 most popular manga on my anime list, and its average score is actually quite a bit higher than the anime. I'd be lying if I said that didn't surprise me a bit, but for now, I just want to say that despite the high popularity rankings that it does have, I seldom hear anyone talk about it at all nowadays. In fact, a lot of newer anime fans I've talked to have never heard of it. I don't think that this series necessarily qualifies as a hidden gem due to that popularity, and I wouldn't necessarily say it's underrated either, since most people that try it usually like it a lot. But I hate to see shows that captured my heart lost to the wheels of time. Seasonal anime as a whole has gained a lot of popularity in the years after this show aired, and likewise there's a lot of series that are lesser in comparison which capture the attention of viewers instead, purely on the basis that they're new. I mean, I know discussing currently airing shows with the community at large has its own appeal in a way, I partake as well, and I even cover all the newest series in Weekly Shonen Jump, but if you haven't seen a classic series yet, then it's new to you, and isn't that what really matters? But whatever, the point is, this show really does stand out as one that I definitely think is worth watching and or reading, and it's held up just fine each time I rewatched it. Oh, and there's maid outfits in it, so I mean, if that's your fetish or whatever, then it's definitely a must-watch, am I right? Anyways, I've wanted to make this video for a long while now, and the fact that I've actually seen a few accounts over on Twitter begging YouTubers to actually talk about this show helped to push this video into existence. Likewise, never hesitate to let me know what other anime and manga you want to see added to this Why You Should Watch series. Of course, I'm only ever going to do the series that I personally think are worth watching, but if there's a lot of overlap there, then it might help to bump something up the list, you know? If no one else is willing to talk about great classics like this here on YouTube, then I'm more than willing to do so myself. I find revisiting quality shows like this to be an absolute blast. I doubt a second season will ever actually happen, but if it does, you know I'll be here for it. Either way, I'm definitely gonna have to check out the manga, cause like I said, I've heard nothing but great things about that as well. If you've already watched or read this series, then remember to let us know what your thoughts on it are down in the comment section below. Regardless, thank you to Kara Alter, Murdoch, Love Phenomenon, Jessica LaFond, Langer, Soulslayer, Gamer, Gentleman, Gin Kotaku, Red Emperor, Rubio, and everyone else over on Patreon for helping to make videos like this possible. If you want to join these mad lads right here over in the Patreon crew and have your name at the end of videos like this, then I'll leave a link to that down in the description. If you want to support the channel in other ways that don't cost a single dime, then don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you haven't already, or follow me over on twitch.tv/theanimedudeYT where I stream basically every day. Over there, each individual viewer helps to make a huge difference, especially in the journey to becoming a Twitch partner, so come join in on the fun if that's something that sounds interesting to you. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and Anime Dude out.